Sunday, the 12th of May, and given that it was the first day on which the southeaster had blown after a week of either no wind or northwesters, and the fact that it was Mother's Day, one would have thought that Mother Mothers would have produced a nice set of clean, crisp runs, but that certainly wasn't the case. It did clean up a bit for the 1.5 kilometer each side of the lighthouse, and then got pretty gnarly on the last third of the run, particularly on entering the bay, with lots of competing directional runs. A feature of this run is the swim that I take shortly after the lighthouse, or rather the circumstances leading up to the swim. But a context is that I've only ever once fallen out of the ski, which is my new boost low volume, which was the first run that I did before I had installed a downwind rudder. And with the downwind rudder, I subsequently haven't fallen out yet. In this particular instance, the cause of the swim was the fact that my paddle got caught underneath my leash, which is only ever going to happen to someone, number one, who's got a poorly developed stroke like me, and two, someone who's using a leash attached to their life jacket, which very few people do. The second notable thing about the swim is that I did the most pathetic remount ever. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that I have more stress-induced remount experience than Oscar, Jasper and David put together. I mean, I have calculated I've done more than 100 involuntary remounts, and approximately 50 of those have been captured on video on this channel, and you'd think that with all of that experience I would now have my remount procedure down to a perfect fine art. But I made a complete hash of getting back on the ski. Had I been in my sortie, it would have been a multiple remount situation for sure. Three reasons I think why it was so pathetic. Number one, I was caught by surprise in terms of the circumstances resulting in the swim. Number two, I was stressed. I wasn't my usual self on the day. And number three, I haven't practiced my remount for a long time. And as a result, I didn't keep my head down low. I got mixed up with left and right. I got mixed up with top and bottom. I had the paddle in the wrong hand. It was a complete disaster. Bottom line is, us intermediate paddlers really need to practice our remount procedure on a regular basis.
I'm just a passenger waiting. All that you've ever known is freedom. World I've only known from the outside looking in.
3 days after this run, on Wednesday the 15th of May, Oscar went in for what should have been a regular checkup, only to be told by his doctors that his cancer markers were at an alarmingly high level and that drastic intervention was required, a consequence of which he was put onto a new drug called Kyprolis, which fortunately for Oscar does not require hospitalization but is administered through weekly injections. Unsurprisingly, Oscar has retained his level of physical power and maintained his positive mindset, whereas any other mere mortal like one of us would have been knocked completely sideways by the relentless ongoing attack by these dreadful cancerous cells. Oscar, we continue our prayers and our positive thoughts for your complete and total healing and recovery. Second swim coming up about 30 seconds from now. Absolutely pathetic. I have no idea why I went in, but again, I'm too embarrassed to show you the remount, as it was equally miserable and pathetic like the one just after the lighthouse. about the only thing that I did correctly on the entire run was that the swim happened after I'd already unleashed, and so I consciously made sure that I kept my feet inside the foot strap so as to not lose the ski.